Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, PL Strength, Drowned Kingdom Saga. I am here with one of my favorite people in the community, a dear friend, someone who has been instrumental in what audience I do have for the Drowned Kingdom Saga. He's been such an ardent and staunch supporter that I am so grateful for. He's someone who is so eminently well respected in the community and has done so much for, as per his moniker, boosting books that are under the radar that he feels need more of a light shed on them. And he's just a wonderful human being. I can't believe that I actually get to hang out with him for these cover reveals. We did the last one. Can you believe it? It was in December of 2023. Like, yeah, time flies. But he's here with me once again, Blaise and Ancona from Under the Radar SFF Books. I'm very humbled to have him here, and we are here today to together reveal the cover for book 5 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga, A Pack of Wolves. So, Blaise, thank you so much for joining me, and welcome back.
Oh, PL, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for that warm and kind introduction. It means the world to me. I remember when you first reached out to me for A Drowned Kingdom. I believe it was in 2020 during that horrible pandemic, and immediately once I saw the cover for A Drowned Kingdom, which is right here, and I read the back cover blurb. It was just I instantly fell in love, and then after the prologue, I was hooked. Like I knew I was going to be a deep, involved story with so many themes, and I knew you were just going to flip tropes on their head, and just you know, I fell in love with the series, and it's definitely making its way up to my top five of all time. By the end of this, it will be. I have no doubt about that, especially after reading A Pack of Wolves, which we'll get into a little later. But I 100% believe that, and it's well deserved.
Thank you so much, sir. That's music to my ears, to my heart. So thank you. To have someone like you, again, be such a supporter of the series and to love it just means a lot. Someone I so eminently respect. And for those of you joining us on the live or replay, the format's going to be really simple. Like for the first half an hour or so, we'll chat about, spoiler free. We'll chat about A Pack of Wolves. Blaise has read the advanced reader copy, and I'll just, kind of hear his impressions and thoughts. Spoiler free. We'll have a little chat there. He can ask me questions that if he has any burning questions that we can elaborate on, again, spoiler free. And then that'll continue. But in the second half of the broadcast for around an hour, we'll reveal the cover and we'll talk a bit about that. And also, we'll get to a bit about, kind of what to expect going forward and, release times and things like that. So, yeah, but I'll quickly just say a quick hello to Masu Belk. Hey, thanks so much for coming out and joining the chat and watching the live. Masu Belk, we appreciate it. Welcome. So, Blaise, impressions, thoughts overall about A Pack of Wolves?
Yeah, where do I even start? Well, first and foremost, it's my favorite book of the series, and in my opinion, it's the best book in the series. Everything that you have written and built up since book 1, with the world building and the lore and the characters and the difficult decisions that they need to make, they have made, just build up to A Pack of Wolves in a way that will shock everybody. I said in my review for Alliance Pride, which is book 4, which is right here, that this was a game changer. Pack of Wolves is earth shattering on every single level, and by the end of it, you will left broken, shattered, and you wouldn't know which way is up. That's just a powerful effect that you have as a writer. And it took me a good week to pick anything else up after reading A Pack of Wolves. It's a triumph in every sense of the word. And for those of you who like fast-paced books, like myself, this is the fastest-paced book of any of the other ones in the series. It's a lot of action, it's a lot of twists, it's a lot of intrigue, and also much more world building and much more peeling the onion back and seeing the layers that were built up all the way in book 1. I can't say enough good things about it, but I don't want to take all the spotlight.
Well, I am so humbled by your words, Blaise. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that it was to your taste. There's never any guarantee that just because you like even 4 books in a series that you like the fifth or etc. There's always books that people have as their favorites. I'm extremely, again, privileged that you found that this book, the fifth book in the series, was your favorite. Because for me, looking at someone like you who has read all the books and consistently like them, obviously you have your personal favorites, but the fact that the fifth is your favorite, in other words, the most recent book is your favorite, and hopefully that means that I'm developing as a writer. It means that the series is becoming more compelling. It means that it's worth your investment. Hey, investing in a 7 book series is a big investment. 7 books is a long series by virtue of the fact that most fantasy series seem to be trilogies. There's a lot more duologies out there now. But other than some of the older fantasy series, some of the classic ones like the Wheels of Time and the Wars of Light and Shadow and Realm of the Elvelings, most of the fantasy series that the Malazans that we hold up, they're long series, but typically nowadays they're shorter. So I'm very honored that you're still enjoying it at book 5. So.
Long-standing and long-run epic fantasy series is my favorite type of series to read. Every time there is one, and I'm in love with the first book, I can only think of how much better the series is going to get, and it also shows to your evolution as a writer and how you take the themes in book 1 of colonialism and racism and religion, heavily themed religion and prophecies, and how slowly over the course of at least the first 5 books, there's 2 more books in the main series left, you're shifting them, you're changing them, you keep poking and prodding and twisting the knife ever so slowly to make the reader think about the ramifications of what's going on, and how you make like certain themes, like for example nationalism and racism and justice and righteousness. You make the reader realize, wait a second, you're saying these themes from Othrin's point of view, but is that the main point of view you need to be realizing? What about his people he's ruling over? What about the people he's at war with? What about his enemies? Are they just wrong, or do they have some form of justice as well? Are they right in their own way? We're just seeing things from a different perspective. This is a series that will make you ask those questions, and if a series for me makes you ask yourself the tough questions and realizing that, wait, there's not a right and wrong here, there's shades of gray sprinkled out throughout of it, it'll last a long time. It'll stay with you for a while, and that's the type of series I like to read, and this is what the series you brought. So yeah, people are going to love it when they see it.
Well, thanks so much, Blaise. And it means, I'll be frank with you, it means the most to me when a reader gets my book. I think every author feels the same. When a writer puts those themes into a book, into a series, especially a long-running series, and they're woven like a tapestry, and there's layers, and there's hopefully nuance. Hopefully readers see nuance. And the reader, and a discerning reader such as you, sees that those themes are thought-provoking enough that it makes you re-examine how you might feel about things. And again, without providing answers, or as I always say, I'm not smart enough to approach even trying to attempt to solve anything of that nature, like these weighty themes, these weighty issues that humankind's been grappling with for a long time. But I hope I give you some food for thought, and by you saying that I'm doing that, that means the world to me, because that's one of the reasons why I write. It's one of the main reasons that I write. And, I hope that continues. I realize that, wow, it's like 5 books in. Othrin's Journey, only 2 more books left. And I hope I can wrap up and wind up this series as well as for you, especially, that I've done the 5 books that are going to be out. So.
That brings me to a question, because you already have the main parts of the series already written and planned out, right? I'm wondering, like, as you're writing each book and as you're evolving as a writer, how much are you going back, or I should say going forward to like the future books and just tweaking it ever so slightly? Like, is it just little tweaks, or is it like sometimes you have to like rip up a whole like section and redo it? I'm kind of curious.
That's a brilliant question. I'm going to quickly get to that. I will get to that immediately, but just going to quickly allow an interjection for the wonderful Alicia from Birdie and the books. My sister, my sister in another universe. I call her my sister from another mother. She is wonderful. She's a great booktuber. Please check out Alicia's channel. She's just a marvelous person. I have been very humbled that Alicia has hosted one of the 2 deep dives into the Drowned Kingdom saga that are currently ongoing. One is hosted by myself, and that I have the incredible guest of Jenny Wirtz, the amazing author of Wars of Light Shadow, my favorite author, my partner on page chewing May Between the Pages, and the amazing Dr. Leila Ghoshi of Valadi Magazine. That's one deep dive. Alicia has again generously hosted another deep dive with a wonderful Jen, and now including Epic Tales, the amazing blogger, and of course led by Alicia. So thank you, Alicia, for all you've done to support me in the series, and I really appreciate you showing up. Cover reveal, it means a lot, dear friend. Thank you for coming. So to your question, Blaise, to be honest with you, there's only a little bit of tweaking here and there being done in the last 2 books. So, and the story is written, the ideas are there. There's just actually putting pen to paper on the page, and especially to flush out certain, particularly with these last 2 books, to totally flush out certain threads that have been woven from the beginning, and to close off certain arcs, right? Because when you're finishing a series, it's all about, this has been teased, promised, somewhere throughout the course of these 7 books, this is probably going to happen. How is that going to play out? Like the major decisions or the major conclusion to some of these actions is set in stone. However, there are some inner things that I'm tinkering with, just that I hope will make the story even that much better, that I'm still deciding. There's actually, I can give you this much of a hint. There's one character's fate of all the characters, of all the somewhat major characters, that everyone else's fate is pretty well decided. But I'm waffling a bit on and because this fate is tied to what I plan to be the future saga, like going forward, like post Othrin's era, that could have a big impact. I'm toying with that one, but everyone else's fate is, this person, it's the only one. So what I do with that, I will decide as I write the next book in the series, which I'll talk about later. I'll give you the title later. It is in the book, and in A Pack of Wolves, you'll see, of course, I put in the back and the front of every book what the title of the next book will be. I will reveal that at the end of this broadcast. But yeah, there's one person's fate, and I think because you're such a discerning reader, and because you know your stuff, and you know the series intimately. When you read A Black Dragon on Red, which I kind of gave away, that's the next title of the book 6. You will probably ask yourself the same question. What's gonna happen to this character? I know you're probably gonna figure it out, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm very excited. I love a mystery. I love trying to find it.
Just a quick Alicia's put up. Oh, thank you. I'm excited. Thank you so much, Alicia, again, for all you do, and I do hope you enjoy the cover, and I do hope you enjoy reading A Pack of Wolves when you read it. I like to think it is a good book, and hopefully a book that you'll enjoy based on your love of the previous books in the series. So, Blaise, any other overarching comments or questions as we start off here with A Pack of Wolves?
Yes, and it's non-spoiler. So you started off A Drowned Kingdom almost entirely from Othrin's point of view, and it's not until I believe it's book 3, where you introduce a new point of view character, but you do a new one in in a pack of wolves, and it was very unexpected, but it's also it was a breath of fresh air to read that point of view. So I'll let you talk about if you wish to discuss which that point of view character. But is that something for future books we're going to be introduced to more point of view characters, or is it like you're just picking your spots as to what you want the audience to see? Because it's Othrin's story, and we want to see it through the end. But you're getting little snippets from other characters as well.
Yeah, and I think to answer your question, yeah, I won't give away exactly which point of view that is, but I think it was an important point of view to see. I think it was important to see this character's point of view for a lot of reasons. First of all, they're a major character. Second of all, their relationship with Othrin, and what I think this character means to Othrin, and the potential for them to impact the overall story going forward, right? So I think it was really important to see that point of view character. And yeah, I think it was important to see that, how this character views Othrin based on their relationship with him. And, I think it's really important to see Othrin from perhaps a different lens, the lens of someone who, has a certain affinity for him, the lens of someone who has a unique insight into him that perhaps others don't. The lens of someone who, and this character is, I guess nominally one of the quote unquote good characters that, perhaps isn't spoiled by, the fact that this person is, very, very flawed or has a whole bunch of ulterior motives. No, this particular character is not like that. So I think it was great to see, you said a breath of fresh air. I think it was great to see Othrin as Othrin for all of his flaws, but through the lens of this character that is a good person, that is seeing those flaws, but still appreciating the good things about Othrin, right? Because based on their relationship, I think that was a good thing. And I think you saw a few different POVs in this book. Mm-hmm. And they were all by design, and I wanted you to get their perspective on essentially both sides of some perspective. You can't get everything else on both sides of the conflict, the main conflict that happened in this book. And of course, this particular conflict was basically building since day one. It was always going to come. We knew that there were characters on both sides that were going to align a certain way. We know that this momentous, what I hope was a momentous battle, was brewing, right, for a long time. We just didn't know until perhaps Alliance Pride where exactly some of the players would be positioned. But once you saw Alliance Pride, and especially the end, you knew that it's going to be on. This is coming. It's just a matter of when and how it's going to play out. So, but the other perspectives you got in this book, I hope, were also interesting, especially one of the main characters on the other side, like not on Othrin's side. Actually, two main characters that were not Scott. There's a third one that's not Othrin's side, but that character actually gets the prologue. They get to have the prologue kind of themselves, and their arc is very interesting. I feel that character and what part they play specifically in the action in terms of the havoc that they cause, and their scheme essentially that eventually works and has a major impact on why the conflict takes place. So but I'll be continue to throw in those perspectives when I need to in the series, and I hope that you find them as interesting as you did the ones I put into A Pack of Wolves.
Of course, can't wait to see what else you got up your sleeve, especially in the final two volumes. My head's spinning. I can kind of think about a couple, but that's for another discussion.
Yeah, but So, any other general comments and/or questions that you have about the story?
Yes. So, as I said before, with A Pack of Wolves, I think this is the fastest paced book of all the other ones, because in book one you put in a lot of world building, and you needed that base to spread out through the rest of the volumes to pull back from and saying, oh, this decision or this revelation relates back to something we've heard before. Some. So, did you always know that, like, when you were pacing out the books, or when you were writing the books, that this one would be like would have this type of feel, like very, very fast, very like dire in terms of what's going to happen, and you knew you had to write the book in like a fast environment like this?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. The answer is yes, certainly, because you, Blaise, who've read the series, you knew that, as I said, certain conflicts were bound to happen. You perhaps didn't know when they were gonna explode, but you know that the explosions were coming, and because there were so many explosions coming, so many seeds, as Janny, as she likes to say about the series, you plant all these bombs, all these Chekhov guns. Some may go off, some may not. You don't know when, you don't know how. You're not sure how they will manifest and what actual effect it will have on the overall story. But you know some of them are definitely going to go off. The main question is when. And for me, writing a 7-book series, I felt that book 4, the book prior, Alliance Pride, prior to Pack of Wolves, was the perfect time to set off the bombs, right? So, it's halfway through the series, it's 7-book series, you get the book for it. That was a time to start really setting the bombs off. I don't set all them off, but that was the time to really ramp things up. But realize that with 3 books left, you get some bombs going in book 4, even more in book 5, then total fireworks in 6 and 7 is the plan. So at this point in the series, the pace definitely picks up. The world has been essentially set to a certain degree. You will see a little bits and pieces more, but essentially you've seen most of the places that you will see in the Dragon. I'm not saying all. You've seen most. You kind of get an idea where things are, the setting, some of the unique cultures and kingdoms and queendoms and religions. So most of the groundwork is laid. Now it's time to set those bombs off and to have you feel the shock waves of all these decisions that Arthur has made, all these decisions his allies have made, that his enemies have made, all the prophecies, as you said, that have been foreshadowed to come true previously. Everything's coming to a head now. So as we narrow down towards the end of the series, you will see that the pace will be, it doesn't mean there will be slow moments or reflective moments or character moments. I hope you found some of those still in A Pack of Wolves, especially with Arthur and some of the people close to him. But at the end of the day, it's time to get busy and really set off those bombs that have been ticking, right? So yeah, that was intentional in terms of the pace and why it felt so fast.
That's another reason why I love this series, is that no matter what type of reader you are, you're going to find something you love in this series. Like if you're a reader who loves world building, and you like epic scale, and you like just hearing about like history and lore, like this series is for you. If you love characters and you love especially great characters and the hard decisions they make with the people surrounding them that they either love or hate, this series is for you. If you just like beautiful writing, this series is for you. Like there's everything you want in this series. It just, I don't know. No book is for everybody, of course, but I think most readers will gravitate towards this. Now, the one thing I will say is that the first book takes a little bit to get into. It probably took me about half the book to really, really sink its teeth into, and then you have that fight, which is still one of my favorites to this day. But there's other ones that'll give it a run for its money, especially in Alliance Pride. But it's just that one hook that someone needs to just get absorbed into it. That was mine. That battle in A Drowned Kingdom. For other ones, it might be something different.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and I do want to quickly touch as we get closer to the cover review. I do want to quickly touch on the conflict, specifically the fight scenes, the battle scenes in the Drowned Kingdom saga, in that there was quite a bit of action, I feel, in A Pack of Wolves, but it was, you had these short, brief moments of conflict, and then, but everything was, the difference is, I feel that unlike Alliance Pride, where you have, an issue from the onset, and then it's more character development, etc. Then the second part, you have a pretty big scene, and then in the third part, it's a full out like. I feel like the final the big battle in A Pack of Wolves was very much. I mean, this is a battle you knew was coming for a couple books, right? I think that's the difference, right? And that you knew was going to happen. So when it finally happened, did it happen in the way you expected? Was the resolution the way you expected? Was the outcome what you expected overall?
None of it was what I expected. The outcome was not going to get into it. It's too spoilery. But the battle itself, it takes place over several chapters, and every time I ended one, I'm like, oh damn, I have to go to sleep, but I want to read the rest of it. And just the build up towards it, which was building. You could say from from A Drowned Kingdom, but really from Lord and King, the main conflict you can see building. It's that, and the build up after 2 or 3 books, and it's finally here, and you see just the epic scope of it and the ramifications of it. No, I did not expect anything from it, and I don't think most people will know how the outcome will land. It's just tremendous.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I'm honored. I guess a good question is, what is to date, if you can encapsulate, I know you can't describe exactly what the battles were, but you can kind of, if you give me the hints, I'll figure it out. What is your favorite battle, or 1v1? I include the both together, like your favorite battle and or 1v1, and which book is it in so far in the series? If you
so 1v1, it's Alliance Pride, and I think, and you know which one that is.
Yeah.
Big epic battles, it's A Pack of Wolves. It was Alliance Pride, the part 3 of it, but it's definitely a Pack of Wolves to date.
Well, I'm humbled. And what is it? Spoiler free again, if you can. What is it about the battle, the ultimate battle in A Pack of Wolves that makes it stand out for you?
It's the sheer. Well, it's a couple things. One, and spoiler free, it's the setting of the battle, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
People that have read it will know what I'm talking about. It's the mustering of the troops and who's still able to fight. Who some are there, some have other priorities at the moment. What the other side is mustering, what they have with them. It's the feel of dread that the characters have for like the choices made and what is going on. That just, it has everything you need in like an epic battle. It's like, for those of you who read The Wheel of Time, the big epic battle for A Memory of Light, it has that, except it's not 700 pages. It's maybe like 3 or 4 chapters. It's just, those are the types of scenes that I live for as an epic fantasy reader, and you fulfilled them to the nth degree. Now I can only imagine for the finale how you're going to top this type of battle. I think you will, but I just can't imagine like what's going to go into that, writing those scenes.
Oh, well, thank you, Blaise. That's music to my ears. And again, I do not try to focus on just blood and gore here, but epic battles in fantasy is something I've always loved reading. The John Gwynns, the Stephen Ericksons, the Jenny Words, the Miles / Christian Camerons, the Evan Winters, you name it. I mean, there is something about those epic fights, and I never thought it'd be something that people would. From my books, I thought, as I said in many interviews, I thought maybe the world building would be something people found, effective. But I never thought that. I'm humble when people say, "Oh, like when they laud my battle scenes." I Bernard Cornwell, another one, a big influence on me for writing battle scenes. I mentioned those authors. They're on another level, another plateau altogether than me. But I am aspiring for that level of authenticity and excitement and thrilling and also depicting the horrors and definitely the downside of war and the fact that it is a horrible thing in essence. But at the same time, I'd like to think that my conflicts, I don't want to ever do it gratuitously. I want it to be germane and relevant to the story. Like, this battle had to happen because of this, right? And that there's a reason behind it. So hopefully I've achieved that.
Well, you certainly have. Yeah, I don't like gore and blood just for the sake of gore and blood. Obviously, there needs to be a purpose behind it. Um, and and yeah, nothing else to be said. It was just fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so honored. So we're going to get to the second half of the broadcast, and it is time to reveal the cover for book 5 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga, A Pack of Wolves. Blaise has already seen the cover. He's one of the few people who have seen it. It's only a handful, maybe 5, including my lovely wife, Debbie, my business partner. I love you, honey, if you're watching this later on. But Blaise, of course, is someone who has been so instrumental again in boosting, promoting my work, and again, I can't think of enough. So he is certainly entitled to get a sneak peek at the cover. So without further ado, here it is. And there is the cover for A Pack of Wolves. It is the 5th book again in the Drowned Kingdom Saga. I chose the color scheme. If you read the book, I think Blaise will understand why, in terms of the white and what that represents, in terms of the cold in the north, and of course the wolf. Well, the wolf has many, it serves a few purposes in terms of that particular symbol. But of course, let's just say that, if you read the series, this isn't a huge spoiler, the emblem of the kingdom of Carthlugi, which figures prominently in this book, is a wolf's head. So that is the reason why that particular symbol was chosen. I want to say for the cover quotes, on the rear of the book, which you don't see, I will display the full cover eventually on social media. On the rear of the book, which you don't see, the back cover is black. The writing is white. And it features 3 endorsement quotes from some absolutely fabulous people I so eminently respect and admire. 2 of them are authors. One of them is a blogger. The blogger is the amazing Michael Delaney from Wolfman Tula Books. He's a phenomenal person in the community. He's so humble to have him put an endorsement quote on my book, and he, his praise, saying that I'm one of his favorite authors, just means so much. Michael's an amazing guy. Check out his channel, his YouTube channel, which he just started recently. Check out his website, Wolfman Tula. He also does great stuff with fantasy sports. The guy's really well-rounded. He's got his dabbling in a lot of things. But he's wonderful. He's one of the quotes. The other 2 are authors and dear friends of mine. One is A.M. Mawini. She's a fabulous author who's been shortlisted for a lot of awards. She writes brilliant and very she's very multi-talented, writes in different genres. The other one, and Smith Nosachak, another amazing author, again shortlisted for many awards. Check out their books. They are amazing authors. I'm so humbled to have their words, that they like my series and they were willing to put their words on the back cover. And finally, on the front cover of this book, I like, again, this is really humbling. Dr. John C. Morrow, PhD, professor, and also the content manager of the esteemed Grimdark magazine and an assistant editor for Before I Go blog. Shout out to you, John. I mean, John is such a wonderful, probably known in the community as one of the best reviewers with the written word of anyone. You talk about the Esme Rosalines, you talk about, in terms of the booktube world, you talk about the Philip Chases and all these people. But in terms of the written review, John Morrow's name frequently comes up as one of the best reviewers in terms of the written word in the science fiction, fantasy, horror scene. He has graced me with this quote on the front cover. And for those of you that know me, you know that George R. R. Martin is one of my favorite authors. And of course, I'm nowhere close to the level of George R. R. Martin. But for John to say that, to say that P.L. Stewart established himself as the heir apparent to George R. R. Martin with A Pack of Wolves, that is such high praise, and you feel almost disingenuous even allowing it to be in the book, but at the same time, I'm so grateful and humbled, John, for you being willing to read my book. He's been such a huge supporter of my work, including his efforts to promote me in Grimdark Magazine. I was honored that he sought to choose me as one of last year's up-and-coming Grimdark fantasy authors in a list of spectacular authors. So yeah, I mean, John, just an amazing human being. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much for providing me the cover quote. Thank you to Michael, Am, and Ann for providing the back cover quotes. It just makes this book so special to me. So thank you. So Blaise, thoughts on the cover?
I love it. I love the wolf's head, and obviously the colors are done for a reason. That'll play a big part in the book. And actually, I remember, I'm not obviously not going to spoil it, but A Pack of Wolves, you have a specific line in the book related to that title, and when I read it, it sent shivers down my spine. So that's something for you guys to catch. I always, whenever there's a title, I always try to see where the author drops that line in the book. Sometimes they don't, but most of the times they do, and how it relates to what's entirely going on. That's something that, as a reader and as a reviewer, I always love to look into, because I'm a nerd that way. But yeah, it just sent shivers down my spine when I found it.
Oh, well, so honored. I just want to give a quick shout out to Zero Zaku One, great supporter in general of the community, great person. He just says a shout out, hi, PL and Blaise, can't wait to see the new cover. Well, here you have it, Zero Zaku One. It says, PL, you're burning through these, writing these. I want to quickly say that thank you, Zero Zaku One. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you so much for joining and for the cover reveal and for the other broadcasts that you join all over the booktube space. My goal is to write a book a year. I have a full-time regular job outside of writing. I have a busy life, like most people, family, etc. But I work hard to try and produce a quality book and publish it every year. That's my goal. That's my commitment. And God willing, once I have breath and the faculty to write, in terms of the Drowned Kingdom Saga, I plan to publish a book a year. So far, so good. I've kept that promise. A Pack of Wolves is on track to be released in the spring, nominally, of 2025. So this year, hopefully be out in the next few months. And I'm working hard already on book 6. And I gave the title away earlier, but book 6 is entitled A Black Dragon on Red. So, and you will see that in A Pack of Wolves for those that decide to purchase the book. That is the title of book 6. But the focus now is on book 5, A Pack of Wolves. And, Blaise, for you, who have been with the series, reading the series from day one, do you, in terms of the cover scheme and the progression of the covers, I know each cover obviously has meaning, but only someone like you who has read every book in the series will totally grasp the meaning of each of those covers. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned you would also seem to concur that this cover had a special meaning, and it's definitely relevant to the book. Does it match up, do you feel, with the continuity of the other covers in the series?
Yes, of course. It matches very well, especially with like A Lion's Pride, which is the previous one with the lion feel. And then the color schemes. I just love how each cover is essentially different. It brings something new to the table. It's not just a kind of a rinse and repeat type of thing. It's very in touch with what the theme is of that particular book, and it goes off of that. No, it's a fantastic cover.
Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. I think you know me well enough to know I prefer to keep my covers somewhat neat and clean. I love the fancy covers with the amazing artwork and the kind of fantastic battle scenes and all that. That's fantastic, and I love covers like that. But I also like the simple, clean central image covers. Kind of focuses you on that one central image. That's very much how I like my covers for my series, at least for this main series. And I feel that that will be consistent throughout the series. However, there might be a time where one cover gets jazzed up more than perhaps the others have been. We'll see. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy with this cover. I'm so pleased with the way it's turned out, and of course with the wonderful endorsement quote from John Morrow, and Noschak, A.M. Winnie, Michael Delaney. It is just, like I said, when people like that are willing to put their words on the cover of your book. And of course, for Lion's Pride, I was I was so honored to have Blaise put his words on the front cover. That meant so much to me, especially for someone like Blaise, who's been a supporter from day one of the series. It's just definitely a highlight. So thank you, Blaise, again for being willing to do that.
No, thank you for reaching out to me to do that. It was my first front cover quote I've ever had, and it just means the world to me. I will treasure this for the rest of my life. So,
oh, thank you, sir. I want to ask you for questions, Blaise, as we're into the middle of the second half of the cover reveal. So, when you consider a pack of wolves, and you consider some of the events that happen. Um, do you think that even with all the things that are revealed, that this may potentially lead to more questions than answers, or less questions and more answers?
no, it's definitely more questions than answers. There's, again, no spoilers. There's a section in A Pack of Wolves. It's regarding Othron, and he just gets a whole bunch of brand new information and revelations. And from those revelations, my mind to this very day has done nothing but think, nothing but keep my mind spinning. And the questions, that's just one section of the book. There's more that come around the ending. There's some that come in the beginning. It after, I can't think of another book besides something written by like Jenny Words where I've been thinking not weekly as to what is going to come, and I sincerely mean that. Everyone who loves to get just to contemplate as to where the series is going to go, how this could work, intertwined with the characters, and what's in store for the future, will love A Pack of Wolves. That's why it's such an earth shattering book on so many levels, not just regarding battles, but revelations, character development, more world building. Um, it has everything you could want, and I just I'm still reeling. You and I have to talk more about it off screen.
Yes, we definitely do, and we will. I think part of what I hope, though, is that the tension has been somewhat eased on some of the things that, okay, for four books, I've been like, okay, what's up with this? And you get somewhat of at least an answer and somewhat of an insight. And also, but this is something I definitely want to ask you and approach it and with, and obviously we're keeping it as non-spoilery as possible. Can I ask you specifically about Othrin's character in this book? How do you feel his character develops without? How do you think, from the Othrin you first met as that young lad, the prince, the spoiled and haughty second prince? Obviously, he still have issues, and you know, how do you feel, in some ways over time? Again, without spoilers, that is he changed? Is he the same? So much of the series is about his growth, his development, his change. How much it is, how small or big it is. How do you feel about Othrin by the end of this book?
By the end of this book, Othron, I believe he has changed the most of any other book in the series, and it also has the benefit because, and I mean, it's a slight spoiler. You do time jumps in your book. That's just a little thing if for reading the series, particularly in the previous book. There's time jumps, and with those time jumps, you don't since you're not reading what's gone on throughout those years, you see that the characters they grow and they developed during that time skip. When A Pack of Wolves starts, I don't think I've ever seen Othron in the state of like emotional, like the state of emotions that he's in and his mindset and his his outward look on life. I don't think I've ever seen him like that. And over the course of the story, things happen and it changes who he is. And it's very hard to talk about in this book without giving away spoilers. I'm going to try my best not to say too much else, but Hawthorne has changed the most in this book alone, I believe, just based on everything that's put in front of him, the choices you make him answer, the hard questions, and the conversations he has to have with other characters, especially some of the ones that he loves dearly. That just it's enough to break any man. I don't know how he, has a head on his shoulders to proceed forward, but yeah.
So, and thank you, Blaise. Those are some amazing insights. So, and I mean, and again, you're one of the people who knows the series intimately as someone can, as a reader who's not the author. Does that make you feel differently about authoring, or is it more just, okay, but he's done all these horrible things and he hasn't really atoned for them properly, or he's still not going to be redeemable because he won't be able to change, or perhaps he will, perhaps you think he will to a certain degree, or perhaps that you think he has, and I haven't even asked you necessarily if the changes are for the good or for the ill. You've commented he's changed, and I know again it's without giving away spoilers. So can you comment on that? How you feel about him in that regard?
Well, it's one of the main themes of your story. It's seeing the evils of the world, or seeing the evils of one's raising and culture, and in some cases religion, seeing how that's affecting other civilizations and other people. And do you see the growth in yourself to make those changes? It's the fundamental conversation we as people. Can people change? Should people change? And everyone has their opinions on it. I personally, this is my personal belief, this is not book related, that people can change their behavior, people can change their mindset, people can change their mood, and they can change how they present themselves to other people. However, what I do believe is, like, what a person, like, their values and their truths, what they believe in their soul, I don't believe that truly ever really changes. So throughout the course of this book, you see Hawthorne realizing some of the evils that he has grown up with, thinking that his race is the superior race, and everyone else should be looked upon as, not scum, but along those same lines. You see that in Lord and King, of how he's starting to change, the laws surrounding his own people, like to incorporate other religions, like the six elementals, as opposed to like the one true God. And then that's him evolving, and then it's him evolving with his people are mixing with the races of the other land, and having new children. Like, how are they going to be incorporated into? These are hard questions for a ruler to ask. I think Hawthorne, at his heart, he tries to be a good person. He may not go about it in the way that we as a society would like, or how maybe he should go about it, but at least he's trying. He knows he's a very flawed character. He knows that he is not, at the end of the day, going to be looked upon in probably a bright light from like historians or whatever have you, as like this great king. But he's doing what he feels is right for his people, and he's slowly trying to adjust his way of ruling and thinking to incorporate a larger group of people, his kingdom, so to speak. Are some of those changes for the better? I don't know. I guess hindsight's 2020. Like, I guess when we look apart, when the final book is out, we'll see. Was it worth it? Was it good? But I think it's too early, maybe too early to tell for some instances.
Well, that's an exceptional answer. That is an exceptional answer, Blaise. And I do want to comment on one thing though, and quickly see what you think before, as we wind down. One thing that we see throughout the series, as Hawthorne continues to grow a character, is for all his flaws and for all his issues, and for all people may not like this about him or not like or applaud him. If there's one thing that he is good at and that he does get recognition for is his skills as a fighter and a warlord, and that is something that like has only become he's becoming almost legendary in a way for that. Now, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Knowing Othrin, knowing the situation. I mean, clearly there's times when he needs to fight, and there's times when he needs to be, for all the things that he's committed to, he needs to be that person. But is that a good thing for Othrin or a bad thing? Besides the risk of getting killed.
Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing for Othrin? Who's writing that he's like, no, he's this great hero and this great warlord? It's the oldest saying in the world. Like, history is written by the victors. I'm sure his enemies don't view him as this. They view him as an evil tyrant. Um, I I know he believes, he knows he's a great like leader and a great war leader in terms of battles, but he doesn't like to do it. He doesn't like to go into battles. He doesn't like to watch people get killed. He tries to avoid it as much as he can, but he knows when he needs to put the pedal to the metal and like unsheath his sword. If he needs to kill somebody, he will do it when backed into a corner. Um, and at the end of the day, it's not so much how your everyone else views you and how great of a leader or king or war leader you are. How do you view yourself and the ones surrounding you view you? That's a main question and a main theme in this book. And for those of you who read it, you'll see exactly how that unfolds. But it's the people closest to you, how they view you, and can you live with what they think about you if it's not in the best of light? Are you willing to accept faults, and are you willing to be humbled enough to face your dark demons? That's a big thing with Othram, and some of those questions do get answered. That's just can't say enough about it. That's one of the main reasons why this book is so special to me.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Blaise. That's an incredible answer. You provide so many awesome insights into the character without giving away spoilers. And I hope for you that the author's journey, especially as we near the end and when we reach the end, I hope for you will be rewarding. That when you look back, you can say it was worth all the time and investment that you made into reading my work, of which I'm so grateful and so honored. And that when you look back in hindsight and retrospect and reflect on this series, I hope this series will have made an impact on you. So I really do.
It already has.
Well, thank you so much. I wanted to quickly say that again, this is a promotional banner that I put up here. I will be putting out, bigger and closer up JPEGs of the cover of A Pack of Wolves in very shortly in the next few days. So it is not available now. We can see it under the big banner here, where it says, under Pack of Wolves, but it's not available now. The launch date is still TBA, but we're hoping that it will be in the next few months. It will be in the next few months, regardless. But just specific dates, I'm always very cagey about publication. But you will know closer to time when it's coming out, that it will be coming out. And again, I aim for every book in the Drowned Kingdom saga to be published in normally the spring, so somewhere between February and May. And we're on track for that commitment. So, just so you are aware. Just a quick shout out to the wonderful JBG Blaise, great friend. I've had the honor of meeting in person, fan of the series, great support of the channel. Thank you so much, JBJ, for joining as we wind down here. Really appreciate you coming by to say hi and support the series as you always do. A wonderful person, and it means a lot. Thank you, sir. He says, badass cover. So I'm really glad you like it. I hope the world likes it. I hope those that are fans of the series or coming in new to the series, that is just one more reason to entice you to maybe pick it up. So as we wind down, Blaise, any final comments about A Pack of Wolves, specifically its place in the Drowned Kingdom saga, or anything else you'd like to say?
I mean, I think we've pretty much covered everything in a non-spoilery format as much as we could. We keep turning that needle as much as we possibly could. All I'll say is that if you've been waiting on pins and needles after reading A Lion's Pride, Pack of Wolves will not let you down. It'll exceed any expectation you had, it definitely exceeded anything I had when going into it. And by the end of it, you'll just wish that the final 2 volumes were out already. I know I do, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about what's going to happen since I was you were kind enough to give me an advanced reader copy of A Pack of Wolves. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for including me in this amazing series. I fully, from the bottom of my heart, believe that this will be a top 5 series for me, and it will be for many readers when this is all said and done. It's already on its way, and I have no qualms about saying that. I sincerely and truly believe that.
Well, that's extremely humbling and high praise from you, Blaise. As I said at the beginning of this broadcast, what nominal audience I do have, much of that is due to you and your tireless support and unwavering support of the series. It means so much. I'm so humbled that a person as great as you are and as esteemed as you are in the community has so gotten behind my series. I can't thank you enough for all you do. Again, I'm honored to have your cover endorsement quote on the front of Alliance Pride. I'm so honored that you continue to love the series and support it, and including A Pack of Wolves. I cannot wait till A Pack of Wolves is out in the world. I can't wait till you get an advanced reader copy of Book 6, A Black Dragon Unread, sometime later this year. And as Author's journey winds down, I hope that it proves to be rewarding for you. And again, I can't thank you enough for joining me for this cover reveal, for doing these cover reveals with me. I hope you'll do me the honor of coming back for the cover reveal sometime in either late 2025 or early 2026 for A Black Dragon Unread. If you do me the honor to do it again, I would be humbled.
Absolutely. You picked the date, I'm there.
Thank you so much. So I want to give the opportunity as we wind down as well, just to let everybody know a bit about you in terms of where people can find you in the space, things such as your website, if you have podcast channels, etc. If you can please let the people know, for those who don't, just a bit about you in that respect.
Well, thank you so much. So, hey everyone, I'm Blaise. As my name says, Under the Radar SFF Books is my handle. You can follow me at Under the Radar B2 on Twitter or X. I do have a podcast, but since the birth of my daughter, who's 6 months old now, that kind of went on a little bit on hiatus. But I'm hoping to pick back up within the next month or two once everything kind of settles down. I've had P.L. Stewart on my podcast a couple times to discuss his work. Love to have him back on when the series is all said and done. We can talk about it. I'm always available. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter. I don't do too many book reviews nowadays, but I'm always happy to have a conversation. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Always willing to chat and share what books I love. This one is definitely up there. It's one of my favorites. We can talk about more.
Well, thanks so much, Blaise. And if you're not following Blaise, what are you doing? This is again one of the very esteemed people in the community whose opinions of bloggers, reviewers, so well respected and is so kind and does so much to shine a light on books that perhaps could use a bit more love. So please follow Blaise. Check out his podcast. He posts some absolutely incredible content. There are so many authors that feel indebted to Blaise. I believe I'm one of them. And, thank you again, Blaise, for all you do. Blaise has also granted me the honor of sitting down with him for 6 Elementals interviews on my channel in the future. And that's when I'll hopefully get to turn the tables around a bit and really shine a spotlight on Blaise and allow people those that don't know about him, kind of to know a bit more. So, and he so richly deserves that. So
I appreciate that. Can't wait for that.
I can't wait for that. Just to catch up and hang out and chat will be amazing. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the cover reveal for A Pack of Wolves with the wonderful Blaise from Under the Radar SFF Books. There's the cover. It is book 5 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga, part of a 7-book series. This book will be published sometime in the next few months. In other words, the spring of 2025. So it is not available now, contrary to the little notation underneath the big title in the middle of the circle. Again, thank you to Blaise and Ancona for everything he does. Thank you to the back cover blurbers. Again, just to repeat, Michael Delaney, Wolfman Tula, a great blogger, A.M. Mawini, and Smith Nochizak, amazing authors, and of course the wonderful John Morrow. We all know him from Before We Go blog, assistant editor, and the content editor of Grimdark magazine, who's provided this glorious quote on the front cover, which is very humbling. You know, and I don't know what to say, but George R. R. Martin is one of my favorite authors. So even to be mentioned in the same breath as him is a big deal. And quickly, there's just some final comments. David G. Blaise says almost like Blaise and I have the same name. And
so
here, one of the wonderful people who has put their words on the back of my book, Michael Delaney, the amazing Wolfman Tula. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We're just finishing off here. Again, Michael Delaney, amazing blogger, so well respected. You know, having his name and his quote on the back of this book means a lot to me, and I'm so honored. He's also someone who has done so much, you know, to support my series unfailingly, and I can't thank him enough for that. He's a warm and wonderful human, and thank you, sir, for doing that. And I hope it gives you, you know, a sense of pride to just have your name on a book. I know you've had your name on much bigger books than mine, including authors such as Ryan Cahill, to name a few. But you know, having your quote on the back of my book, Michael, means a lot. So that concludes the cover reveal. You know, Blaise and I, we've got a few things to talk about off camera, but we're going to save that. That's all spoilery stuff, so unfortunately can't share with you. But again, thank you so much to everyone who joined in the chat and participated. You know, Michael Wolfman Tula, whose name and endorsement quotes on the back cover, JBJ Blaise, the wonderful Alicia from Burning the Books, who's done so much again to support me and has a deep dive into the Drowned Kingdom Saga. So once you've read books in Drowned Kingdom Saga and you're able to get spoiled, you won't be spoiled if you read the book clearly. Check out her deep dive series featuring herself and Jen, and now the wonderful Epic Tales and myself. Lord and King, if you read that, there's one out on that. Lion's Pride, there's one out on that as well. So thank you, Zero Zaku One as well. Great support of the community, and for Masai Belk for coming out. And everyone who watches the replay, you are what makes this type of long form content special. So Blaise and I are signing off, and I will see him on Six Elementals. And other than that, of course, hopefully we'll be chatting with him otherwise. But him and I will be back, God willing, you know, sometime late 2025, early 2026 for the cover reveal of Book 6 in the Drowned Kingdom Saga, A Black Dragon on Red. Thank you.